I Love My Mama by Peter Kavanagh, illustrated by Jane Chapman. The pale sun rises through the morning mist. I love my mama on days like this. When storm winds blow, we shelter together. Nothing can harm us while we have each other. Later we chase across hot, dusty plains, stomping and stamping and playing new games. When the bright sun rises hotter and higher, we stride along by the cool, fast river. The water is clean and we're covered in dust. We jump in together and let it wash over us. We dip and dive and splash and splish. Fun like this is all we could wish. We walk in the grass to dry in the sun and sing together in trumpeting fun. Sometimes we laugh for no reason at all, comparing our trunks, one big and one small. We gaze at the birds flying into the night and the stars in the sky all twinkly and bright. And when we lie in the soft dewy grass, you tell me elephant tales from the past. Last thing at night, we curl in a hug, safe and happy, cozy and snug. And we sink into sleep and dream of new days. My mama's love surrounds me always. So that was a nice story about mom and child. So for you to make your mom a Mother's Day card, I have a little flower card here. So the first thing I did was just start with a regular piece of paper. So now if you want to make a poster or something really large, you can do something this size. So you just need to do everything bigger. But I'm going to work on one this size. And so the first step that we're going to do is put our hand print. So I'm going to do that first. And instead of putting paint on plates or containers, I just put it right on my hand. And I just take my paintbrush and I just paint my hand out. So it's just one less step of having to clean like a paint dish or something like that. So you need to put it on nice and thick, and depending on the color of your paper, you might have to do 1 or 2 coats, or you might have to do it extra thick to get it all filled. So I am going to stamp my hand on there, and I'm going to do it about in the middle of the paper, so maybe a little bit lower than I did here, because I'd like my flowers to sit down farther in the pot. So I'm going to do that first. So I'm going to lower that a little, and I'm going to make sure every finger pushes down on my paper. So that's the first step. I'm just going to wipe my hand clean. And your hand doesn't need to be perfectly clean because we're going to be doing more painting with our hand. So if you don't want to paint with your hand, you could do bingo daubers or something like that, but I started it with my hand. So this is our vase, or the bottom of our flower pot, and I just drew that on my brown paper using my marker. So fairly simple, just 2 slanted lines in at the bottom, and then across the top I'm going to do 2 lines. I'm going to draw the side of the vase going up, and then I'm going to draw another line across. So I have one cut out for me here, and I'm going to glue that on, and then I'll draw some lines on it. that on there, and if you see, my hand sits down a little farther in this vase, so my flowers aren't quite so tall. So my next step is to just do the center of each flower. So in the center of each flower I've used yellow. So I'm just gonna put some yellow on my finger, and I'm gonna spread that out, and I'm just gonna go along and stamp at the top of every finger. I'm gonna stamp a little yellow center. So it'll be the yellow center of my flowers. So that's the center of my flowers. So now for the next step, I'm going to use my fingers again, and I'm going to finger paint around those. But if you don't want to finger paint, you could use a bingo dauber. So we have lots of bingo daubers for craft stuff here. We have lots of colors. So if you're going to do that, you can certainly just stamp all the way around your picture, or around the center of your flower, like that. So that's one way to do it. And another way is to use your finger paint again. And so to do that, I just dot the paint on my finger instead of having a tray. Now, if you have lots of people doing this together, it's probably a good idea to have a tray. Then everybody can reach in, and you don't have to worry too much about who can reach and who has the paint. But I'm just going to go ahead and dot all the way around my flower, and then wipe my finger. So once you have one color done, so that was my blue, you can go ahead and do another color. So I'm going to do a red one, and I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm just going to dot all the way around my flower. And you can continue until you have all your flowers made. So I'm going to do a yellow one. It's a yellow one over on the side. And then I think I'm going to do maybe another blue one on our paper. So whatever colors you have at your house. So your paint comes out too quickly, or you think it'll be easier to put it on a tray, you can use the back of like a margarine lid or something simple like that, even a glass plate, because this is water-soluble paint, so it'll just wash right off of the glass paint. So that's the beginning of our flowers. And then you can write a nice message on the front. So you could write a poem, or you could write a message to your mom. So whatever comes to mind, you can write that on your page. So there is a quick idea for a flower vase.